We're live. So this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be super fun. Let me get I haven't done lives on YouTube in like 20,000 years. How old am I now? I don't know. Freaking old. I feel like I'm aging like a vampire. Like that my soul has just existed on this dang planet for so long that I don't even know what to do with myself. But as you can see, I am not 1,000 years old. Oh, but boy, do I feel like it sometimes. We're hanging out outside. I thought it was the vibe. We've got How to Wear a Crown merch, sweatshirts. You know, if that's something that you love, you like to buy merch, I've got tons. And they're cute. And they're comfy. We're going to do a How to Wear a Crown collective. Can I share this on places? Maybe I can. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Shared in some places. You might see Bailey, my dog, come in, mess with me a little bit. She loves to interrupt in the middle of readings, so do not be surprised when she decides to come try to jump in my lap in the middle of this. It would probably not be right without it. Let me tell you what we're doing today. So if you haven't seen my previous readings, well, let me tell you first. So I feel like I want to tell you so many things right now, but like I'm also like, I don't want anybody to get bored with me telling all these stories, but like it's my channel. So, you know, if you're here for it, you're here for it. If you're not, you're not. But when I first, so let me take you back. 2016, I started doing YouTube. And when I did, in 2016, I did tarot card readings right here on YouTube, and I did them like religiously. I had a big following of people that came to watch tarot readings from me, and I used, you know, the Rider-Waite tarot decks, and I had a few other tarot decks, and I still have them, and I love them, and they're great. But that was just what I did, and then eventually, like, I just got called to do some other things by God, you know, and I had to kind of follow those callings and nudges. Hi! I see some people are with me now. I'm excited. I got called to do some other things in, you know, the realm of mental health field and life coaching, and I got called to write a book, and I got called to build this program, and I got called to like do all these other things that I kind of had to veer away from like the tarot on YouTube. And I remember like having this conversation with God where I was like, I thought this was my thing, and like Amiata says, how old are you? I'm in my 30s. I'm 35. Anyway, so I got called to like do all these other things in my career, and then I kind of circled back around to YouTube. I never stopped doing YouTube videos, but like I just started doing them in a different way, like making content that was like specific for like mental health and, you know, helping things like you know, motivational videos, things like that, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I came all the way back around to doing some readings, card readings here on YouTube, but now with my very own deck. So this is my How to Wear a Crown Divine Guidance deck that I created myself, and it is beautiful and lovely. There is creeps in the comments. You are right. There's always going to be creeps in the comments, but you know what? I'm going to send you love anyway and hope that you heal. So I hope you heal. You probably need to read my book and take my program more than anybody else if you're going to come and just be mean in the comments for no reason when somebody's here to try to spread love. All the grace of God. All the grace of God for you, sir. I like that the other people are noticing that, though. So these are my cards, and these are what I'm going to read with now. and I do the areas of love, health, and wealth. Good morning, lovely. I do the areas of love, health, and wealth. So my program, the How to Wear a Crown program, we say that it up-levels your life in love, health, and wealth. So when I'm doing my card readings, those are the areas that I touch on as well. Thank you. Love you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the flowers. And so I'm really proud of this. This is the only one in existence right now, just to let you know. And it's mine. And my dog marked it, you know, she bit the corner. She chewed up the corner of the box. So I had to tape it back. So it's already ghettofied. Can't have nothing nice when you have like a kid and a dog. They just, you know, things happen. You know how it is. Any of you moms, parents, you know how it is. You have dogs. She chewed up the corner of my box. It didn't hurt any of the cards inside, thank goodness. But this is the only deck in existence. You can pre-order them if you love this card deck and you want one. You can pre-order them from my website. I put in the description my website, and that's really all I put, just because everything that you need is in the website. So instead of like linking you to a bunch of thousands of things, you can just go to my website. You can find anything, or you can just Google me. So let's go ahead and pull some cards. And maybe if you stick around long enough, I'll pull a card specifically for you. But this is going to be a reading for the week of, what did I say? Whatever it says in the title. That's what the week of. This next coming up week. From Sunday to, what is it, next Friday. So the first card that I got for the area of love is all of me loves all of you. And I hope you guys are cool with me just being like relaxed and chill, because I don't get dressed up to do YouTube from my house. I don't get dressed up to do TikTok from my house. A lot of coaches do. And I don't hate on them for that or judge them for that. I feel like if that's what makes you feel confident and good about yourself, like to get on screen, then go for it. But man, I am from Kentucky. Like, I am from the country, and I just like want to wear a hoodie and a sweatshirt. So I want to wear a hoodie and a sweatshirt, and I want to put my hair up in a bun and chill in the grass and hear the birds chirp when I talk to you guys, because that's what makes me feel the most confident and at peace. So I gotta be me, you know, I gotta do things the way that it feels good for me. So you probably aren't gonna catch me like dressing up in like full Louis Vuitton to talk about coaching. Good morning, love your energy. Aw, thank you. I hope you stick around till the end. So our first card is in the area of love. And this can be love in any sense. Okay, so this is romantic love. This is friendship love. This is the love of God. This is, you know, when we're talking about the area of love, we don't pigeonhole it, and we don't just make it only about the area of like an intimate romantic relationship of love. Okay, so reminder that when you're hearing this message, to receive it in all the ways and all the fully encompassing ways in which love can show up in your life, because love doesn't only show up in our lives in a romantic way. A lot of times we get very hooked on, you know, romantic love, but love is so abundant, and love is all around us, and love comes in so many forms and from so many different types of people, and there's so many different types of love that we want to just stay so open and receptive to hearing this in whatever way. Okay, so this card says all of me loves all of you. This is an overarching energy. This comes from chapter 11 of my book. I didn't bring the book out with me to show you, but it kind of looks, the book cover kind of looks like this, but not like cartoony. It's like a real life version of me in this, and it's on Amazon. You can find it from going to my website. It's easy. But it's chapter 11. If you've read the book, you can kind of refresh like your memory. I always say, you know, if a card gets pulled, then go refresh your memory of that chapter, because that's kind of where like the universe is wanting us to focus collectively as a group right now. So All of Me Loves All of You talks about this idea of multiplicity. All right. And like there is extreme, as somebody that comes from the mental health field originally, there's extreme diagnosis around the idea of multiplicity, but I want us to not get hung up on that, like that it's like a sickness or an illness or you know, something horribly wrong, right? Because there's like multiple personality, like DID, sort of like separation of self. But all this talks about is, because we talk about trauma in my book and my program, that, you know, when this happens, it's the idea that we split, right? It's what happens when we get broken, right? If you've ever felt like you were broken, then it means that there was a separation of self. How do I break myself, right? And I just saw 11:11 on the clock as soon as I said that. So that means that's hitting home with some of you guys. Put it in the comments if it did. But like, if you are broken, then it means it's a separation. If I took a plate and I threw it on the ground and that plate was broken, it means it would separate. It would be separate from the whole plate that it was. It would separate into multiple pieces. So that kind of also happens when you break a person, right? When you break a person's mind, right? The mind can split. If you get broken mentally, if you get broken, you can get broken spiritually, and your consciousness can split into different pieces. And when I first heard the concept of like returning to wholeness, or like the idea of multiplicity and separation of self, it was in the metaphysical world, not the mental health world or the psychology world. And I have degrees in both. So I have a degree in psychology and I also have a degree in metaphysics, and I love to address healing from both of those sides, because I think that it's definitely both. So I'm sorry, I can't answer the questions about that aren't pertaining to this, about like war and stuff. I really don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I can't. I don't really have any. I don't know those answers. But what we're talking about here is just like multiplicity and the idea that we can separate within ourselves, right? We become ununified, and everybody's life and spiritual journey, everybody's healing journey will be rooted in this one thing, right? This will be across the board the same thing for everybody, that it is a return to wholeness, right? No matter what it is that you're going through, no matter what your particular healing is, we are all attempting to return to a state of wholeness, because we've been broken in some way, separated in within ourselves in some way, whether that feels like a broken heart, a broken mind, a broken spirit. And then if we want to like get deeper and touch on the chakra system, right? Everything in our physical body relates to a spiritual body part as well. I have a physical heart, but I have a heart chakra or a heart center. And I can address something at a spiritual level and then have that affect my physical health once it's healed. So if my mental health is really messed up and I do work spiritually around my crown chakra and my third eye chakra, which are those chakras up here in the top of the head, that will help me regain mental health. Does that make sense? So this card speaks of all of me loves all of you. And so it's this opportunity to honor not the brokenness of you and I, but to honor the normal, natural idea and state of being in which is multiplicity of humans, right? And that's why I made that point at the beginning about like that we don't want to get hung up on like that this could be like a diagnosis code, right? Or that everybody's went through some stuff, and I'm trying so hard not to cuss. I used to, in 2016 when I started YouTube, like you could cuss on here so much and not get taken off, and you could say the craziest stuff. You could say whatever you wanted to say in 2016. The rules were different, and now there's a lot of rules, and I'm having to adjust the way that I am, and I keep wanting to like just come out and like say some cuss words, and I cannot. So please know that. Pray for me. I need some help. I cuss a lot. Send me love that I cannot cuss. I don't want my video get taken down. So what it honors not the brokenness, but the idea that everybody's been through some stuff, right? You know what I want to say. But we've all been through some stuff. We've all been through some traumatic experiences. We've all been through things that have made us feel broken, shattered, right? Those moments of it's a moment of a metaphysical impact. Just like if you had a car accident, that's a physical impact that can break your body physically. Does that make sense? And then so that can happen on other levels of consciousness as well. So physical reality is only one level of consciousness, but we also have an emotional level of consciousness. We have a mental level of consciousness. We have a spiritual level of consciousness. And I can also have great impacts in those areas that make me feel broken as well. I can have a great impact that makes me feel emotionally broken. I can have a great impact that makes me feel mentally broken. And I can have a great impact that makes me feel spiritually broken in some way, shape, or form. And this is just honoring that that is a part of the human condition. So since I am somebody who has operated in both the mental health and psychology fields and the metaphysical and spiritual fields, you know, I really want to honor that this is the human condition, right? That any of those things that we can go through, diagnoses we can get, disorders we can have, are a real physical thing, right? They're here in the world. But then also, those are real spiritual things that originated somewhere, that there's metaphysical and other levels of our consciousness in which things can take place, that can also make us feel like this, kind of separated into different bits and pieces. Okay, so that's why this card has that depiction of like the one whole person and then all of the different kind of like pieces, because what happens is we can take on different personas or personality traits or characteristics based on the broken self. So it honors that that's part of the human condition, and that I have to understand within myself that I have many aspects of self and many pieces, right? And that also when I'm looking at somebody else, they have many aspects of self and many pieces, and that people might not show up consistently as the same self version of themselves consistently all the time. That we have and here's a good example of what I'm talking about, is that, you know, let's say under a different circumstance or in a different condition, a different version of somebody that you've never seen might come out, right? When threatened, won't we get more primal, right? If somebody was to come, like, you might not be a very violent person, but if you were being threatened physically, you might find that there's this aspect of yourself that's very primal and protective that can come out in that moment and protect you, and has the abilities and the characteristics to be violent even when you were never that type of person before, right? You found like this piece of yourself in the moment when you needed it. Does that make sense? So like, we all have aspects of self, or are capable of forming new parts of self, are capable of healing old parts of self. And just understanding that this is kind of a natural, normal state of being for all humans. And when we say in chapter 11 of How to Wear a Crown, all of me loves all of you, it means it's like the fullest love. This is the most unconditional type of love that you could experience, okay? This is saying that me, in all of my fullness, no matter how many parts and pieces and aspects of self I have, and no matter how they're scattered across space and time in all dimensions, that all of me and the collective that makes me a whole united being, right? That's another point of this too, is just because you're broken doesn't mean that that you don't exist in wholeness in some way, shape, or form, right? All the pieces are there, all the parts are there. We just got to kind of put them back together. We have to rebuild the self back to wholeness. That's that return to wholeness I was speaking of at the beginning. But that me, even if all of my pieces, all of my parts don't feel unified and collected here, that I can love with all of those aspects of me, that I can tap in and tune in to all of those parts of myself, all of those pieces of me, across all space, times, and dimensions, and then express love through all of them to all of you and all of your parts. And even if you are broken, right? Even if you feel broken and scattered and ununified and not whole, that I can love you in your pieces. It's this idea that we deserve love in our broken state, that even in this state of separation from self, that we still deserve love. Because when we are in that state of brokenness and separation, it can trigger a self-worth issue. It can trigger shame that makes us feel like we don't deserve to be loved until we return to wholeness, but you deserve to be loved throughout the entire healing process. You deserve to be loved while you're healing. You deserve to be loved while you're reuniting all the pieces of yourself, and you deserve to be loved in as if you were whole and collected, even when you're not. This is unconditional love. Like, I don't just love you when you're showing up as this, like, doing everything right version of yourself. I love you when you're showing up as this, like, doesn't have it together version of yourself too. I can love you in all your versions of self. I can love you in all the different ways that you show up. Total and complete unconditional love, expansively loved, to be limitlessly loved. Does this make sense, you guys? Can you drop in the comments if this is like resonating with you? Carissa says, I'm a firm believer that as we heal and put ourselves back together, we become stronger and more resilient so that we don't break so easily next time. I believe that as well. And that's a lot of what I believe in too. And we have another card in the deck, which I will like die if it pops up now, because it's always like that. It's always so funny and like perfect timing. But there's another card in the deck that is one of the all of me loves all of you cards. So every chapter of my book is like one of the overarching energies. So this is like a chapter, and then for each chapter there's like several different, what I feel like were like the main points in the chapter. So like the underlying energies is what I call it. And one of those other all of me loves all of you cards that has an underlying energy of I can't remember what it's called, but it is the concept of the Kinzuki bowl. You know what I'm talking about, Carissa? Where I think it's the Japanese culture. If the bowl breaks, like a clay bowl breaks, they glue it back together with gold and silver, and then it is revered as even more precious than it was before, because of, and it honors that, of the process of brokenness and repair being sacred, and that we shouldn't just throw things out because they're broken, that it is beautiful and purposeful and sacred to repair and put back together something that is broken. and then the bowls and the vessels, right? Yes, you're familiar with that. So beautiful, right? And I think that's how we are, right? That's so representative of us, and that's so what we do when we are healing. And the love is the gold, the love is the silver that we fuse our pieces back together with. And then we are revered and honored after that as even more sacred, even more, valuable than we were before. I'm so glad you knew what I was talking about. All right, let's check out our area of, what are we on next? Health. Love, health, and wealth we do. There we go. So health, I have become comfortably crowned in the art of allowance. And I got this card in my membership site. So I do a daily card pull for my membership site too. It's up level your life membership. You get free 30 days if you guys want to check that out. So my website link is in the comments or the description below or whatever, but it's easy. It's just my name. It's like www.racheldgreenwell.com. So you really can't forget it, can't miss it. But and it's in there if you want to like get a free 30 days and try it out. I do every day. We pull one of these and get like a really cool reading, message, meditation, and I do like an affirmation that goes along with it, and you get a bunch of other shit that goes on. See, I told y'all I was gonna have a problem not cussing. Yeah. Okay. Stuff, you guys. Stuff. All right. There's a bunch of other stuff. Things, content, things of value that you get in the membership site, not SHIT. Okay, so this card is, I have become comfortably crowned in the art of allowance, and this is in health. And what this means in regards to health, I feel like, is because the idea of becoming comfortably crowned, this comes from the very last chapter of my book, chapter 14. So if you want to understand that better, I would go there if you're an owner of the book already. And it says that you're very content, right? It's not a struggle. It's when you've done enough work to where you've transcended your old way of being and you've fully stepped into your new way of being. And so now you feel comfortable here. It doesn't feel awkward. You know, when you're trying to start a new journey, you're trying to start a new habit, you're not a person that really works out, but you want to be a person that works out, and you are trying to do it, and at first it feels really hard because you're trying to start that new habit and it's hard on your body and you're aching, but the next thing you know, like if you keep it up, right, 30 days, 60 days, next thing you know, you'll be like, I can't wait to go to the gym. You're like, this is who I am, right? It's kind of like once it becomes comfortable to be the new self, to embody that new way of being, that higher level version of yourself that you've been trying to become, then it gets comfortable. And once it's comfortable, and that means you're in it, because it's always going to feel uncomfortable at first to make a change. It's always going to feel uncomfortable at first to try to become a different version of yourself. And that's okay. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. But this card has an underlying energy of the art of allowance, and that speaks of being receptive and receiving instead of resisting. So we can do this in health by using the power of our self-talk, especially. So here's a story. So I had a car accident, and there was a part of my lower back that was giving me a whole lot of pain. And I went to 2 doctors, and they were like, yeah, you'll probably have to live with that the rest of your life. Every patient that I've ever had that's had that has to live with that for the rest of their life. You'll manage it, but you'll never go back to how you were, probably. And I'm like, I don't accept that. No, I heal. That's who I am. I can heal myself. I can accept and receive somebody. If it's not you, somebody can heal me, right? It's like declining the idea of that you can't heal and accepting and receiving the idea that you can, and supporting yourself around receiving the help. Because if I would have accepted, right, that idea when 2 doctors said that won't ever heal, I'd be sitting here in excruciating pain right now. Or actually, I probably wouldn't be doing this video because I was very, very unhappy. It really affects your mood to be in pain. So I probably wouldn't be here doing this video, to be honest. I couldn't sit in the lotus position anymore. I mean, it affected a lot, and that affected my mental health. And anyway, so I aligned with receiving the health. I aligned with the divine health. And I said, okay, God, I know that my body is not that far gone. Like, I know that my body is not that broken to where it cannot return to health. I believe and receive that my body is capable of returning back to its original form. And then, by the craziest synchronicities, I stumble upon a small family-owned practice in the town that I live in. And I don't want to say that, I would love to shout them out, but I don't want to say the name because it's just unsafe to like tell people where I live. And that would clue you into where I live. But anyway, so I just stumbled. I moved to a new place, and then I accidentally missed my turn because I had not, yet gotten familiar with my area. So like, I missed my own road, had to drive down and around and like figure out a place to turn around. And it was like, because I missed my street, I just happened to like ride past this place, and I was like, what is that place? And it just, everything in my being, I felt intrigued by this place. And I was like, read the name of it, and I was like, and it felt familiar. Like I had like deja vu, when that happens, and that's like your soul is like telling you something you need to pay attention to, right? So it was like, I was intrigued, and I felt familiar, and it felt like, I was like, I've got to go there. I've got to go there. So I took a picture of the sign, and then I went home, and then I called them and I set up an appointment, and I said, I've been to these other doctors. They told me this. I don't believe that. And they were like, we can heal you. Like, we got you. And they were like, we believe in fixing the problem, and we do things a lot different here than you'll do at any other place. So it's like all the stars aligned, right? I moved. I accidentally missed my turn, right? It was like everything fell into place the way it was supposed to fall into place so that I could get the healing that I had prayed for. It was so divine that when I went in, synchronicity and serendipity, that was meant to happen, absolutely meant to happen. And so it was like, when I prayed to, for it, I had to ask for it though. Like, I had to believe it. I fully believe that if I wouldn't have believed that a solution was available for me, if I wouldn't have believed that healing was possible for me, then I wouldn't have aligned with the things in the physical world that I needed to align with in order to heal. So it's twofold, right? And we have to take action. We have to take action. I also had to see it. I had to recognize that intuitive nudge to do it. And then I had to take some steps. I had to make a phone call. I had to schedule an appointment. I had to show up. But the healing was available there when it wasn't available at the other places. And I prayed a prayer for God to align me. And I had to be open and receptive. The art of allowance. Allow looks like this. Okay, I receive that. I receive it. I receive that. Oh, I love when I like slip up and say shit stupid on live. Okay. So, allowance looks like this. And resistance looks like this. Right? And you can do that with your whole spirit. So like when those other doctors told me, like, you'll never heal from this, I could have been like, oh, woe is me, and I can't believe this has happened to me, and I'm just gonna be like this forever. And that's me shutting down the blessings. That's me shutting down the possibility of healing. Where'd my card go? I've lost it now. It ended up back in the deck. Yeah, that's me shutting down the ability to receive the solution. So you have to be open. It's the art of allowance. It's the art of receptance, and knowing what it looks like to position yourself to receive. And you can do that on, like I said, all of those levels. I have to be mentally positioned to receive. That means I have to be thinking things like, the solution is possible. The solution is here for me. There is a place that's gonna help me. You know, this place couldn't do it, but somebody can. God has a person that's in this world that is supposed to be here to help me. I can help myself. I can support myself. There is, you know, spirit guides, angels, a whole spirit realm of divine beings here to support me. You know, that's me speaking myself, like in my using my brain, using my speech, being open and receptive in my body, rolling those shoulders back, you know, putting myself in receptive positions to allow energies to support me, allowing myself to be guided, you know, listening, hearing, intuitive nudges. And when you feel those little things, to not brush it off. So when I rolled up on the facility and it looked familiar and it felt familiar, and I had all these like beautiful vibes around this place, I could have said, I mean, that's all well and good, and I bet that's a cute place, but like 2 other doctors already told me that it wasn't possible for me to heal, so why bother going to another place, not wasting my time. I could have said that, but I didn't. I said, ooh, there's something about that place. They must be different. This has to be what I've been praying for. Ooh, God aligned me here. And then I had to make steps and actions in the physical world. I had to make that phone call. I took that picture. I said, I'm not forgetting this place. Click. You know, I had to show up in physical ways. They are small actions. Take the picture, schedule the appointment, go. But that aligned me with divine health. I have been fully restored. I am fully returned back to my condition that I was in before the car accident. Point blank, period. So that's the message about health, is that we have to get comfortably crowned in the idea that divine health is available for me, and utilize the art of allowance, utilize our ability to move into receptive states to let it happen, okay? You have to be there already mentally and emotionally when you ask for something to manifest physically. Yeah, yes, for it to manifest physically, I call it the trickle down effect. So it has to trickle down through all of our chakras, right? Because it's the most metaphysical states of being are up here, and then we come down, you know, our physical realm is down here. So if I'm going to receive an energy, right, it starts as an energy, and then it's going to be a thought form, right, which is more tangible, more physical. It's a thought form, right? Then I can speak it, and that starts making it even more real. Now it's sound. Sound is even a bigger form of physical reality. Once I can hear it. Ooh, I'm bringing my senses. Once you start bringing physical senses into the deal, that's when you're manifesting it. That's when it's becoming more physical, right? More tangible, more real. Ooh, I can hear it. I heard me say that. And then that's going to help you create feelings. The more I'm speaking it and thinking it, now I'm feeling it. Now I'm feeling like, hey, that's possible. Feeling, right? And then the actionable steps. So yeah, I call it the trickle down effect, because it starts way up here as a very high vibrational thing, but then we have to let it trickle down into our physical reality. Absolutely, yes. I'm loving Carissa over here. All right, I don't know where my card went, or I'd show it to you one more time. But so that's health. Get comfortable in the idea that divine health exists for you, for me, for all people, and then allow and receive. Allow and receive, baby. Do your part. Do your little human part. But your human part's typically small, right? Most of it's this. Most of it's just, accept and receive. And then our part is like, hello, can I make an appointment? Like, we overcomplicate things and we think that so much is on us, but it's like really like our part's typically pretty small. So I always say start with the spiritual. And what's so funny that like while I'm telling you guys this, a text message popped up because one of my really, really good friends called me for advice yesterday about something with her child in school, and she was like having trouble and making a decision about something around his education. And I said, well, you know, when I get to that point, the best advice I can give you, because when you get when your brain is racked, when you're stressed out, when you've asked everybody in the physical world that you know, and you're still confused and you still don't know what to do, you need to take a break from thinking about it, because you cannot rely fully on your human brain, right? This is just one little teeny tiny tool in the whole deal. You can't rely on your human brain to help you make this decision. You need God. So I was like, what I always do is at night before I go to bed, I'll pray about it, I'll meditate on it, I'll write down my intention, I'll ask questions that I want to be answered, and then it's usually first thing in the morning. As soon as I open my eyes, I have a eureka moment where it's like, bah, moment of clarity. Or it'll happen in the shower, right? It happens in these moments like when you're really relaxed because you're receptive in those moments. And so I told her to do that. And while I'm talking to you guys, I saw my text message pop down, and it was like, oh my God, you were right. I meditated last night. So as soon as I get off here, I got to call her back and be like, tell me about it. What happened? What was your answer? I love seeing people get like their guidance and clarity from the universe, because God is always there to support you, and it really doesn't matter what the problem is. God wants to help you with everything from like if your calendar is disorganized, if your house is a mess, if you don't know what color to dye your hair today, like literally anything you are struggling with or having a confusion about or just want some guidance on, God is there to guide you on it. So involve God. Always involve God. Always involve God. So, but that's why those things work. That's why that was my advice, was sleep on it, pray and meditate, write it down, sleep on it, and then like go have a nice bath or something, was because it'll put you into a relaxed state physically, which helps you relax on those other levels, and then you move into a state of receptivity. Okay, the receptivity is key, my doll. Are y'all ready for the area of wealth yet? This is my favorite area. It's not, no, I can't say that. That's a lie. They all work so perfectly together to create the whole happy self. But wealth is fun. Wealth is a fun vibration to tap into. So when we talk about wealth, let me just a little bit of backstory here about wealth. I don't teach wealth as money. Okay, I talk about money. I like money. I love money. Let's get money. I talk about getting money. I talk about business. We love money. Okay, but money is, you know, you hear that phrase like money can't buy happiness. Money can buy lots of things that support you in happiness. However, money is only one aspect of what creates a vibrational state of wealth. Okay, because you can have an abundance of money, but then have a lack of a lot of other things and then still feel poor. So we don't do just let's get cash and money, you know, money. But even though we love money, we have to look at wealth as like a whole picture of what creates a wealth vibration, and not just stuff and money, because there's been plenty of times in my life where I've had all the stuff and the money and I was still freaking miserable. Okay, it happens. So we have to we have to do more. Okay, we have to be wealthy on lots of levels. We got to be mentally wealthy. That's only physically wealthy, and we've already talked about there's lots of levels of consciousness here that we have to pay attention to if we want to wear a crown. Okay, but the card that we did get, though I said that as a precursor, the card I did get is living in a material world. This is the overarching energy. This is a chapter of the book. maybe, is it 11? Is it 10? If you've read the book and you know, please put it in the comments, because I can't remember right now. I don't have the book in front of my face. Anyway, I forget. There's a lot going on in there. It tells you how to live your entire life. So I forget sometimes. Living in a material world. Living in a material world is another overarching energy, which means it is one of the chapters of the book. It'll be easy to find. There's a glossary or whatever you call it in the front of the book. You'll be able to get there. Don't worry. But living in a material world, if you look at the card, it is a girl in her pretty closet with her chandelier and all of her cute things. So, where money and stuff is not all that there is to wealth, it's part of it, and it's part of it that God wants for you, and it's part of it that I want for you, and it's part that you should totally have access to and be allowed to have. Okay? There is absolutely no reason that you should feel bad about desiring physical things, accepting and receiving physical things, and allowing physical things, luxury, items, stuff, to be a part of your experience. And it doesn't make you not spiritual, and it doesn't make you less godly, doesn't make you less holy, doesn't blah, 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 whatever kind of dumb stuff you might have heard about, like paying attention to physical stuff. It is a piece of what creates the whole happy, healthy self. Because I like things, right? There is stuff in the world that we want, right? How are you going to feel sleeping on the ground outside every night with no running water and no blankets, and like you're going to be cold and you're going to be uncomfortable, and it's like, just how much are you going to be able to focus on your spiritual life how mentally well are you going to be if you don't know where you're going to sleep at night? How mentally well are you going to be if you don't have appropriate attire to wear to your job? Like, we do have to think about, like, stuff is part of this, right? And if things that exist in the physical world are connected to energies, so any of the things that are here and available in are energetic states that you can tap into and attune to, and you are allowed to have these things. And I think as long as you are not, right, here's the ticket. It's like, as long as we're not putting this stuff above God, like I'm not making this my God, I'm not making items and stuff, the forefront of my life. I keep my eye on the spiritual prize. Like, my life is centered around my spirituality, my internal realm, doing my service for God, my mission and purpose in the world, helping people. And then, like, at the end of the day, like, if I feel like I've done a lot of work and exerted a lot of energy, like, I like to reward myself with physical things. I like to go get a new purse or whatever. It's like not hurting anything for me to indulge in some physical things in the world if I want them. And I'm not that materialistic of a person. I grew up in very poor conditions. I grew up in poverty. I grew up, we always had everything that we needed, but like I mostly had the experience where I felt like everybody else had all of this kind of stuff that I did not have. And it's also part of my inner child healing, because I had a self-worth issue and a belief system that I was poor, right? That I lacked because of the way that I would compare myself to other people when I was young. And growing up in school, and if somebody has something you don't have, it makes you feel really bad about yourself. It can really injure your self-esteem. And so as part of like my personal healing journey, I support that inner child. I take her shopping. I have boundaries. I have a budget. I have I'm not ridiculous about it to where I'm gonna like ruin my life in regards of like spending all my money on stuff. Like, I understand. We also have to be practical, and we have to inner parent the inner child too, and say no to things. And we can't just spend all of our money on stuff that we can't afford. That's an indication of a problem, like a shopaholic issue, or you know, that you're trying to fill a void or something inside of you with things. And so we don't want to do that. But it's like, you should have your needs met physically. There's certain standards to living that you should have, where certain physical items are not are your standard way of living. My standard, that's something I've had to do a lot of work on in myself in the area of self-worth to grow, right? That my standard of living, like what I saw as a need and a want, where there was a huge gap. It was like, I was like, oh, I've got like a place to sleep and running water, like, and at least food for a day. Like I've got my needs met. And it was like, well, you know, maybe we can do a little better. And I'm talking a very long time ago. But you know, I had to realize that I had a lot of weird mentalities around stuff, money, and what was a need versus a want. And I just had to raise my standard, right? Like, we're allowed to up level in our standard around what we're allowed to have in our life. And that's little things. And I tell people, you can do that on any budget, okay? You can up level your life in this area around luxury and stuff and items on any budget. It could mean, so for at one point in my journey, when I was working in, you know, entry level mental health jobs where I was making like almost nothing an hour, right? Just like barely getting by. It was like me splurging was like buying the name brand cereal that I wanted instead of the off-brand cereal just because it was $1 cheaper. Like, that was me having a splurge moment. And that was uncomfortable at that point in time for me to be like, I really actually desire the name brand item. But I just, my normal and my standard has always been to buy the off-brand item, even though I want the name brand item. Let me step out of my comfort zone a little bit and just go ahead and get that name brand item, right? That was kind of how it started for me. Little things, little tweaks in the way that I thought about stuff and money. That it was like, it's okay if you want to buy the name brand over the not name brand. And then eventually it got to the point of like, you know what I want? I still have my car that I have right now is fine. It's running, but I could go get another car because I want a shinier one. I'd like a shinier one that's bigger. So I'm going to get a shinier, bigger car because I want it. Not because I need it, not because mine's broken or I don't have one at all. And, you know, that was a big level up in my life, because there was never a point in my life prior to that I didn't, where I got a new car for the sake of getting a new car. I always got a new car because I had to get a different car, or I didn't have one at all now because mine was broken, you know, and I junked it, and now it doesn't exist in my life anymore, and I'm in the business where I have to go get one, right, because I've got to get to work, you know. It's like that kind of a thing, not out of necessity, but out of a place of desire, out of a desire to take it to the next level, out of a desire to, because I want to, and I can, and I could, and maybe I just should, because I want to, and that's okay, right? Shopping not because you're out of stuff or you have absolutely nothing to wear anymore, but shopping because you feel like moving up in terms of your wardrobe. You're like, hey, I've got all of this stuff. You know, there used to be a time where I did not buy new clothes until all of mine were so worn out that I was like, I really can't go into public with any of this stuff on, or none of this fits me. I'm in a different size now. I'm gonna have to do this, right? It was like a have to. And I never got things out of the want to. So that was that's a mentality switch around wealth or stuff and physical reality. So, you know, I'm just saying there's a lot of mindset shifts. There's a lot of belief systems that we can have around wealth and around material things in the world that we should take a look at, because not only does it support you in the way that your life feels physically. I mean, my self-worth journey, like when I'm doing my own, like I'm learning to wear a crown journey, when I look at stuff and money, I mean, it really, because that's the physical manifestation of the beliefs. So, I mean, it really gives us so much insight into what we think about what we deserve, what we think about what's available to us in the world, what we believe about ourselves, about the world, about what we're capable of, what we can have, about it really supports our self-development and our self-growth when we start looking at stuff and money. And in no way, shape, or form do you have to be a materialistic person, okay? That's not what I'm trying to tell you at all. And your idea of what kind of stuff you want in the world might look a lot different than the kind of stuff that I want in the world. Like, you might be like, man, I really wish I could buy a new chicken coop because I really want to farm and I really want to have chickens and, get my own, like, fresh chicken eggs. That's a dream of mine. Actually, too. But, or you might say, I want, a luxury apartment in New York. That's the complete opposite of what I want. I want farmland and woods and where deer roam free. And, but that takes also money, right? So the ideas behind, like, what we want. Carissa says, I just downloaded How to Wear a Crown Survival Kit and I'm about to order your book. I'm leveling up right now and coming back from a dark place. I believe I was meant to find you on my feed today. Yay! Claps for Carissa. Way to go, girl. I'm so proud of you for getting the kit. Please follow it through to the end. I'm telling you, that product, even though it's free, it was designed to change your whole life, even if you never purchase any of the other products, okay? And a lot of times what I will see on the back end, because I can see people's progress on the back end, is I'll see people start it and then never finish it, okay? So just because it's free does not mean it's not stocked full of value and very intentionally created, okay? My mission is to serve the world and make the biggest impact possible, and so I created my free product. And I was really disappointed because I would get a lot of free products from a lot of coaches and they would be like BS. It'd be like a PDF file that mostly just promotes like their other crap. And not crap, but yeah, I'm sure they're good products. But like, it would just be like some tiny little snippet of something useful, and then it would just promote like, buy this thing you can't afford. So I really, in my heart, just felt like I needed to create it's a full 3-session course, and it has a bonus section, and it's designed around the 3 parts of the full program. The one that's like the $2,000, it's designed around like the 3 major things from that I feel like were the most pivotal and the most life-changing, so that you could just, even if that was all you could ever get, that was how, like, that could still change your life forever, you know what I mean? And thank you for ordering. I'm so excited for you to start your journey. You have no idea how happy that makes me. Okay. You threw me off my course, Carissa. I got too excited. You don't know how, like, I live for these moments. And soul clients, girl. I call in soul clients only. So if you felt that way and you acted upon it, then that means like you're meant to be in this space. And reach out to me once you get on your program, on your survival kit. You'll be able to message me in there. And there's also the free 30 days of the Up Level Your Life membership too. And I've been telling everybody, I'm challenging everybody on all of my pages to go get your free 30 days, even if you have every intention on canceling. If you want to continue, it's only $7.77 a month after that. But there is so much content on there that you couldn't possibly ingest it all in 30 days. But I want everybody to go in there and get your free 30 days because it doesn't hurt my feelings if you cancel. Like, I will celebrate the shit out of you. I told you I was not going to be able to not cuss. Oh my God. I will celebrate you. I will get out like pom-poms and cheer you on. Okay. Because it's just, why not it's on there regardless. And I've got plenty of people paying for it. Like, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you get in and then cancel. Okay. And it's easy to cancel. And if you have a problem canceling, just reach out. Like, no big deal. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Carissa. All right. So we are at like an hour. I really didn't intend on being here this long. I was like, I want to go do like a 15-minute reading, and then I'm going to the store. I'm going to Target. Here in just a minute. And Panera Bread, I think. Yeah, somewhere. Coffee is in order, and something. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a good day. Okay, so living in a material world means get your stuffs, okay? It's okay, and you don't have to feel guilty about it, and you can do it at whatever level of life you are at. Let's pull, should I? We're already at an hour. Should I pull one more card? All right, let's do one more. Major theme, major thing to focus on, and I'll let you guys go back to your lives. And I'm gonna go to my life and go to Target. What makes you worthy? This is an overarching energy. This is one of the chapters of the book. And it says unworthiness is your normal, is the underlying energy. That just means when you have a self-worth issue, which most of us do, if you go back and listen to videos, like you'll hear me tell the story of like how I wrote the book and like how I realized that self-worth was like the root issue of just about every single client that I worked with in the mental health field and in my coaching business. And that's like, I prayed this prayer in the park when I realized that I was saying the same stuff about self-worth so many times over and over and over and over again, that I was like, why is this everybody's root issue, no matter what they have? It was like anxiety, root cause was, self-worth. Depression, root cause self-worth. PTSD, root cause self-worth. Like, repetitive trauma victim, root cause self-worth. It was like everything was the root cause self-worth. And I was like, okay, God, like, I see here that like, A, there's this big problem, and B, we have, I'm really good at helping people with this problem. So like, if you want me to do this bigger, like if there's a way that I could do this in a bigger way than like one person at a time, I said, I'm game. And I did the receptive thing. And then 2 weeks later, the idea for the book came, and then boom, like here we are. Next thing you know, right? It wasn't like that. It's been a lot, but felt, now that I'm here, I look back and it's like, wow, we did it, me and God. But, unworthiness becomes our normal for a lot of reasons. That becomes our normal state of being, the way that we think about ourselves, the bad belief systems we have about ourselves, that becomes like our normal state of being. And just like I was talking about with like creating that new normal and that new standard in terms of wealth, that's across the board for all of those areas, the love, the health, the wealth, and just in general, to believe that I am worthy instead of believing that I'm unworthy. That's what changes the game. That's what makes us up-level our lives in love, health, and wealth all at once. And that's why that's my focus. That's why I don't coach that's why I don't have a program that, for relationships, and a program for money, and a program for, get fitness, is because we have the program How to Wear a Crown, because it focuses on the root cause that will ripple out into helping all of those things. We up-level our lives in love, health, and wealth all at once by knowing our worth. So this teaches you how to know your worth. This teaches you how to see your God. Teaches you how to see yourself through God's eyes as worthy of all the things. The worthiness issue, the self-worth issue, the not feeling like you're enough, not feeling like you deserve it, that is the number one block that will keep you from getting the life that you want, the life that you deserve, and the life that is in God's will for you. I swear to God, there's a future pathway, there's a future version of you that has this beautiful, amazing life that you couldn't even imagine, because what God imagines for you is so much greater than anything that you could possibly accept and think up for yourself. And so that is my hope for you. That is my heart's desire for you, is that you can get to a place where you can see yourself as just as good, just as worthy as God sees you, so that you can open up on all of those levels of consciousness to receiving the God's will life for you, including your purpose and your mission in life. Because I had to work on my worth before I could ever accept and receive that I had something of massive impact to offer the world. And I believe that God has something special for each and every one of you that you're meant to do in this world, to serve, to give back, to leave a legacy for your children, to, right, something great that is a potential, right? And it's not for sure. It's a potential. You have to say yes to it. You have to know that it's there. You have to tap in and tune into it, accept it, receive it, say yes to it, learn to listen to God, learn to listen to the still small voice. That's chapter 1 of the book. You have to learn to listen and then take instruction and walk it out until next thing you know, you're in the life that felt like it was only a dream, right? The life I live today is a life I dreamt up years ago. The life I live today is a life that I visualized and asked God for guidance around how to get there, and took baby step by baby step by baby step until now I'm here going, I've got my own cards and my merch and my book and my, like, what? Like, and I know that I did my part, you guys. Like, just like I was talking about with, like, the facility that I went to for my back, like, I answered the phone, or, you know, I picked up the phone, I made the call. I did the actionable steps. I walked it out. And I take full credit for my part, because I know that it's a co-creation between God and me that I couldn't have done. Like, it wouldn't have been possible if I wouldn't have said yes, and I wouldn't have walked it out and performed the actions that I was supposed to perform, taken the instruction. But it was God, right? I could not have done it without God. I absolutely could not have done it without God. So I want to end this with saying thank you to God. I want to thank God for Carissa signing up today, taking her first steps towards up-leveling her life in love, health, and wealth, and being able to see herself through your eyes, because she is a divine, beautiful soul that deserves it all. Okay? So, with that being said, I love you guys so much. I'll let you go. Please, if you get like Carissa, go to the website, get the freebies. The Self-Worth Survival Kit is not the only freebie, by the way. So check out the Academy. There's also a free ebook. There's a free something else. I don't know. I've made a lot of stuff that's on there. You'll find it. You'll find it. Go look around. Go play around. Get your free 30 days on the membership. Thank you, Carissa. I can't wait to see you pop up in the Academy. And I'll be there to support you with whatever you need, okay? And I'm going to Target. What are you guys gonna do? Let's make a plan. What are you gonna do to do one thing? What's one thing you can do to have a better day? Write it in the comments. Say it to yourself in your head. Go do that thing. I love you. Bye. How do I get off of here?